What's up, guys? Happy Monday. I just finished 2020 Wonder Woman 1984. Yes, I am doing it on this episode, movie breakdowns. I'm bringing it to you early. I'm not gonna wait till February and put it out on Monday, right after Christmas. So that way you guys know my thoughts. I'm joining everybody else in the world right now who's talking about this movie. And also because this is a brand new movie, I'm gonna have the first part of this video be non-spoilers, and then the back half be spoilers. I'll let you guys know when it happens. So, we're going back to the world of Wonder Woman, joining good old Gal Gadot, and we're gonna see how she interacts in the year of 1984. Let's jump into on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka, and what is Movie Breakdowns? A movie review series where we look at new and old movies, give them a grade, A through F, plus and minuses do count. And there's a movie you want me to review? Let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. I also have a Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka. On that Patreon, you get everything before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. You get trailer reactions, trailer reviews, you get movies before everybody else do. You also, if you pay for my services and you ask me to do a movie, I get to it like that and put it on Patreon for you. And therefore there's no waiting 2 or 3 months to get that review done. It's already done because you're paying for my services. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's review of 1984 Wonder Woman. Or just put it this way, Wonder Woman 1984. That's the exact name of it. I'm not sure why I said it backwards, like 1984 Wonder Woman. But with that being said, this movie does have scenes where the filmography or like the design or whatever the case may be, the visuals look like a 1980s movie. I'm not sure if that was intentional or this is the I caught, but then again, Jeremy Jahns, he caught it too. But some of the action sequences in this movie, I'm just gonna say that right now, looks like a 1980s movie. I think that was done on purpose. I just can't put my tongue on it if it was or not. But that is one thing I would say. So I said 1984's Wonder Woman. That's really what it felt like. Speaking of 1984 Wonder Woman, this movie does do a lot of callbacks to the 80s. You have people dressed in 80s gear. You have people who listen to 80s music, different styles. And it's pretty much Wonder Woman living her day-to-day life at this point. However, she can't get over the loss of Steve in the movie Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie. She can't get over that loss, and she kind of dragging that with her after all these years. And all of a sudden, this is based off the trailer, guys, all of a sudden Steve appears out of nowhere, and now she's kind of doing the fish out of water with Steve and kind of showing him like, this is the world today, this is art, this is breakdancing, this is a trash can. She's doing all these things and kind of showing like Steve the ropes in the 1980s. As well, trying to figure out how does Steve get back. That is pretty much the main plot of this when it comes to this Wonder Woman movie. It's her finding her lover and trying to figure out like, what is he doing here? I'm happy he's here, but is this gonna last forever? What's going on? And then on the flip side, you have the antagonist of this movie. You have Lord Maxwell, or Maxwell Lord, not sure why I said his name backwards, but Maxwell Lord, and you also have Barbara. These two characters in this movie, Barbara is like, in the trailer you see her as a nice person, kind of goofy, and then you also see in another trailer where she's kind of like fighting Wonder Woman, and you're like, what's going on here? But then you see another character in the trailer called Cheetah, and you're like, oh, Barbara's wearing cheetah print, that's Barbara. And the trailer tells you this, the trailer actually names her Barbara. Like, it says Barbara in the trailer, the HBO Max trailer. Not a spoiler. And also you have, like I said, Maxwell Lord, who is this kind of like businessman, and you see it in the trailer. He's the businessman, and he's kind of the guy who wants it all for himself. He wants it all. He's like your antagonist character in movies who like the villain who's like, I want it all. And I can't really talk about more about his character until I get into spoilers. But That's what you got. Yeah, Wonder Woman trying to figure out why her lover's back. At the same time, get this businessman who's kind of like trying to do things to keep power. And then you got Barbara, who is there, who's just kind of floats around in this movie. Now, let's go ahead and get into characters. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She did great. Freaking great. Like, her acting is great. The reaction she had in this movie is the time when she had to look a certain way and look a different way. It's perfect. I freaking love her acting in this movie. I didn't mind her. Then you also have Chris Pine, who plays Steve Trevor. And Steve, once again, great character. Chris Pine does him well. Chris Pine, kind of like the fish out of water in this movie. He does a good job on that. And you know what? I applaud those two. The chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot is really great and it's done really well on screen. Then you also got my tablet here. Come on, blow up the characters. You also have Kristen Wiig, who plays Cheetah / Barbara. She's cool. She's cool. No complaints about her. And then Pedro Pascal, who plays Maxwell Lord. Freaking love the guy. I think Pedro did a good job playing Maxwell Lord. The dude's a good actor. Like, you watch him in Game of Thrones as Martell, Oberyn Martell. The dude's a good actor. You know he's a good actor. And he delivers in this movie. He delivers. Those four people are the main people in this movie that you really pay attention to. Nobody else kind of like make a guest appearance, I guess I should say. People make guest appearances here and there, but nobody else really stands out. It's really a movie about these four, and hats off to them. Now, some of the things I didn't like. The movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. The pacing of it to me at certain points seems a little dragged out. Like, I seen the very first trailer, so I know what's going to happen in certain scenes. And it was like, okay, when we gonna get into this part? When we get into this part? When we get into this part? Okay, I feel like we dragged this out. Alright, we know what's going on here now. They know what's going on here. The characters know what's going on. The audience know what's going on. Why is it taking a little long to get to certain resolutions, certain conclusions to things? To me, it felt dragged out in certain spots, but I feel like the movie never really let you down. Like in the first Wonder Woman, everybody talks about the third act. Yes, the third act was the reason why I gave Wonder Woman, the first one, a C+. It was a solid B movie, first and second act, and then that third act hit and you're like, what the heck? And Patty Jenkins, the director, I felt like she learned a lot from that first movie, because in this movie she doesn't go all out like that. She has your action sequences and your action scenes to please the action fans, but really the conclusion of this movie is not what you think it is. I'm not going to explain it right now, but I love the way this movie concluded. I think it's a great touch to what the movie and the tone of the movie set up. Like, I think it did great. I think the ending actually made it a lot better than what the first part of this movie was. The first and second part of the movie, I was like, all right, I got the story. I know what's going on. We're dragging this out. Why we're doing this? But then that ending hit and I was like, so yeah. Music-wise, Hans Zimmer is back and he is fantastic. Freaking love Hans Zimmer. The song A Beautiful Lie from Batman vs. Superman is in this movie, and it plays at just the right time. And it plays for a scene that is really good. Freaking love it. Freaking love the fact they pulled Batman Superman soundtrack. They pulled the soundtrack from the original Wonder Woman. And this movie has its own movie score. Great. Great. And Batman vs. Superman, you see my review on that one. You know how I feel about that movie. But the music, Hans Zimmer's soundtrack is great. It's one of the best things of that movie. And anytime I hear Hans Zimmer on a movie or hear a score of it, I'm always like, yes, yes. So the movie get bonus points for that from me on that. Alright, is this a movie you should watch with your friends and family, like a Friday night movie? Sure, it's a Friday night movie. You can watch it on HBO Max while you have, like, I think you got 30 days before it just taking off. I watched it at home. So watch it right now while you can before they take it off. After that, you probably have to wait till it comes out on DVD. But yes, this is a Friday night movie to watch with your friends and family. And grading time. I'm going to grade Wonder Woman 1984 a solid B. This movie gets a solid B for me. The actors are great. The music score is great. What I didn't like was the pacing. The pacing wasn't as great. The story is perfect. Story is simple, easy to follow. You're not going to get lost in it. You're not going to be like, well, why did this happen here? Why did that happen there? but the pacing of it a little long, and also the fact that some of the visuals just didn't look right to me. I feel like they really try to hit the 1980s action sequences, and I feel like you didn't need to do that for a movie that was set in 1980s. Now, that is my grade. It's a B. If you want to know about the spoilers, or you've seen the movie and want to get into spoilers, stick around. If not, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. Keep being awesome, because spoilers are in 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's talk about this. The action sequences. There's a lot of times in this movie where when Wonder Woman is in her action mode, when she's fighting, not the White House scene particularly, but when she's in the Middle East and when beginning to move in the mall scene, the design of the movie took a more like 1980s like TV show movie visuals. It looked more like cartoonish and more a little bit over the top than a normal superhero movie has been at this point. Captain Marvel's movie was based in 1990s, and they didn't really go like 90s styles. Like, it wasn't like I was watching the Power Rangers. This movie made me feel like I was watching something that was seen in 1980s. Maybe I was like watching the 1980s Wonder Woman, the kind of lighting and brightness of the action sequences, or like I was watching Superman movies, which I think they came out in the 70s. Maybe a couple came out in the 80s. But you get what I'm saying with that. Like, some of the action sequences just look really 1980s to me. Jeremy Johns pointed out on his review as well, so I thought I was losing my mind, but I wasn't. And it wasn't a bad enough nitpick to me to where I was like, I can't watch this movie. It was just like, that stood out. And it's back again. And it's back again. But some things I did like, for example, Wonder Woman, she gets to a point where she loses her powers. And she's starting to become more mortal, and she can be affected by gunshots. And to me, it never dawned on me that gunshots don't affect her. But in this movie, it hit her, and she actually was bleeding, and she like looked at it, and I kind of looked up like, yo, Wonder Woman, I thought she's always been like she can get stabbed. Oh, I guess you can't get stabbed or cut or bleed or shot. Yeah, okay. Wow, I didn't think about that. But yeah, this movie does point at a scene like that. I do like Gal Gadot's reaction when she gets like a bullet wound. She's like, oh, I am actually bleeding. Or, okay. And this movie doesn't latch on it for that long because it's more about Steve. And he's the reason why she's becoming immortal. So the main premise is that there's a stone that's kind of like a monkey's paw. You wish on it, the wish comes true, but you lose something else in return. Monkey's paw. And when I first saw this part, like having a movie, and before I actually knew it was a monkey paw's effect, it was kind of like, oh, this is one of those things where somebody wishes for something, it makes everything they want comes true, but they're gonna lose something else in return. Barbara, who is Wonder Woman's co-worker, she wants to be like Diana. She wants to be smart, cool, sexy, sleek, all that stuff. And she gets that. People are looking at her like, oh my gosh, head turning. She's the life of the party. But now she's becoming more and more like mean to people and mean-spirited. Before she was like just a normal person who wanted to help out people, but because she was dorky, she always got looked over. Now she went from being dorky to a jerk. And she wanted to stop Wonder Woman, who Diana was working with Barbara, like, hey, this thing is actually a artifact from the gods, and this is about some jokester or makeshift god who wants to just pretty much cause people like horror and pain. He's causing this, and we have to stop it. And Barbara's like, I don't want to stop it. I don't want to end this. And Maxwell Lord becomes the monkey paws item by like wishing that he was the stone. So then he can grant wishes, and he can pretty much give people what they want, but in return he takes them for himself. So he uses this to kind of like to rise to power, but he's dying because he is the stone. So he ended up taking people's life forces to stay alive. And Wonder Woman at the end of the movie kind of brings him down by like saying like, you don't need to do this, think about your family, think about people you love, because if you're doing this, you'll kill the whole world and the world will crumble. So Maxwell's like, he's not heartless, he just wanted to do all this for his son. And now you're like, Ali, where'd the son come into play? So Maxwell Lord has a son, and his son is probably, I'll say between 7 and 12, go between that age range. But he wants to get all this money and wealth to make his son happy, because when he was growing up, he was bullied and he didn't have this, and he was living in an abusive household. So he wanted to do more for his son, and he wasn't doing it at the time. He was failing. He had a business that was going bankrupt, and he wasn't rising to power like he wanted to. So he's going to use this monkey stone item to pretty much monkey paw, monkey stone item. I just realized I said monkey stone, but monkey paw item / stone to gain all the riches in the world and get to the top. At one point, he legit like takes over the United States by getting the president to give him all the powers and pretty much let him do everything he wants and not be a criminal. Kind of like Peter Griffin in an episode of Family Guy where he finds out that his little house is actually not a part of the United States. So he had his own foreign country at one point. That's what happens in Wonder Woman. I can't believe I just related Wonder Woman to Family Guy. But yes, I did that. I went there to give you guys an idea. So Maxwell Lord is getting all these wishes and becoming more and more powerful. And at the same time, Wonder Woman's like trying to stop him, because as he's doing this, he's actually causing the world to crumble and fight against each other. Matter of fact, there was going to be a nuclear war between the United States and Russia at the end of the movie that Wonder Woman had to thwart, because Maxwell to release his wishes or renounce his wish, and by him doing that, everything kind of stops. Which Wonder Woman kind of finds that out by finding this in a book. Her and Barbara and Steve go on a search, and they find this guy who has this book who kind of like revealed more about the monkey's paw item, and said like the only way you can end it is by renouncing your wish or keeping your wish and watch everything else around you die. And the communities who got this item didn't want to get rid of their wishes, but they lost everything else in return. So Wonder Woman kind of just learned that if I just say I renounce my wish, then everything ends. And Steve Trevor, Wonder Woman's lover, he realized this. He actually realized it early on. He wanted to talk to Wonder Woman about it. He wanted to talk to Diana and say, hey, I think you have to renounce your wish, because I'm not supposed to be here. I am dead. I'm in somebody else's body right now. Which that's how the way they do this in the movie. He comes back alive in somebody else's body, but his mannerisms and everything's that of Steve. So people see him, he looks like somebody in the 1980s, but when Wonder Woman talks to him, she sees Steve. So that is how they got away with that. Cause I was wondering, like, dude, anybody else see the man named Steve, or just her? It's just her in this movie, which they did a good job of that. There's nothing wrong with that. But Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's, their chemistry is great in this movie. I think they did a good job. Patty Jenkins kept them together and did a good job keeping them together. Story beat goes, the movie, it's long, I do feel like, and there's certain things that happen in this movie that don't really need to be necessary, like but Cheetah, if I call her Catwoman, wow. But Cheetah is more of an afterthought in this movie. She is there kind of like becoming Diana's friend, Barbara becoming Diana's friend, and as she's getting more popular because of her wish, she's like feeling herself more, but then becoming a jerk to everybody else, and then pretty much trying to stop Diana from doing things. And she becomes powerful just like Diana because she wished she was like Diana. So she gets all the powers of Wonder Woman. And then she said she wanted to be an apex predator, so Maxwell was like, well, let's be an apex predator, and here you are, now you're Cheetah, because you named her to a cheetah. And she's perfectly fine with that, which I don't understand. Like, it doesn't really make sense why she choose to be a cheetah, but okay. And I think the reason why we have her as Cheetah, because Cheetah was one of Wonder Woman's, wow, sorry guys. It was one of Wonder Woman's, say that 5 times fast. One of Wonder Woman. Anyway, one of Wonder Woman's like arch rivals, one of her arch criminals in her gallery, her rogue gallery. So they put her in the movie kind of be like fan pop. But if you was a non-superhero fan or somebody who didn't really understand Wonder Woman lore or watch Wonder Woman or watch cartoons or read the Wonder Woman comics, you wouldn't really know who Cheetah is. The only reason I knew because I watched the Justice League. But you wouldn't really know who she is. Pretty much. Just throw that out there. As a non-comic book fan, will you enjoy this movie? Yes, you will enjoy this movie. As a comic book fan, will you enjoy this movie? You will, but you probably will have some issues. You probably be like, well, that doesn't make sense when this doesn't make sense. And you start nitpicking, but no, you will enjoy this movie. Hans Zimmer's music is great. Some scenes, like for example, there's a scene where Wonder Woman actually learns how to fly in this movie by herself, by kind of just like releasing, letting go of Steve and realize that he's not coming back, he's dead, and just kind of like just trusting everything and listen. And Steve kind of gave her advice early in the movie about like how the air worked, why he likes flying so much. So she kind of just listened to that and kind of just took a moment to herself after realizing that Steve won't be back, and kind of learned the gift of flight. It was kind of cool scene. I liked it. It was like, I'm not sure I put it on par with Man of Steel's scene. I think Wonder Woman's learn to fly scene is better than Man of Steel, but think of that movie and you get a better idea. Also, speaking of like flight, the invisible plane is in this movie, and they also even like kind of talk about how you don't see Wonder Woman flying in her invisible plane because she can make the plane invisible. So inside of it is still all the things of the cockpit, but on the outside is invisible. And I do like the fact they brought the invisible plane into this movie just for that moment. So that was kind of cool. And besides the action sequences, I didn't have any problem with this. To me, like visually and design look, it looks awesome. CGI at times kind of feel a little bit like, all right, we're doing the CGI, doesn't seem like it fits, but maybe because it's what we watch on the big screen and not on your TV. So I don't know, but like the visuals when it comes to like just Steve and Diana flying around and them looking up in the fireworks, that was pretty cool. Or Diana flying through the sky is pretty cool. But just when you get to those action sequences, like the like Middle Eastern scene and the mall scene, those just seem out of place. Or when Wonder Woman is running to like trying to relieve herself of like what's going on, and she jumps and heals herself and like jumps, that looks more like 1980s. But other than that, like the final fight scene didn't seem like that at all. And the ending too, while I'm on this topic, the ending is really great. The way she talks down Maxwell Lord was unlike any other movie I've really seen. Like she wasn't trying like a fist fight, it was more like she got the lasso of truth around him and was talking to not Maxwell, but talking to the people. So Maxwell somehow got this satellite system where he can talk to everybody in the world, and when they wish for things, he can hear their wishes and then grant them, which a lot of bad things happen. And Wonder Woman was trying to stop him, but Maxwell was kind of like throwing her back with the power of the wish. So she ended up throwing her lasso at his feet, clapped on him, and he didn't recognize it because he was so busy basking in this glory and all this stuff that she ended up talking to the world and saying like, you can change things back to normal. You can avoid all this, and this whole speech, which was really great. And Maxwell had this moment of like emotional moment where him and his son was looking for his dad, and he can hear his son, and he kind of like teleports to his son and embraces the son at the end, and his son's like, Dad, I'm always proud of you. You don't need to make me proud. I thought that was a pretty neat moment. And I like how the conclusion wasn't this big boss battle fight where they're like swinging it out left to right when the whole movie wasn't about that. The whole movie was pretty much Wonder Woman being Wonder Woman, and then pretty much doing Wonder Woman stuff at the end. Instead of being somebody who was going to like fist fight, she was like, I'm going to talk you down first. The dude's a normal guy. Wonder Woman will kick his butt like that. Also, speaking of Wonder Woman doing Wonder Woman things, she saves people in this movie a lot of times. Not just Steve. Like there's a scene where she's like trying to fight these bad guys in the Middle East, and she knows some kids are in the way, and she like completely disregard them to save the kids. Those things you don't see in superhero movies anymore. You don't see the superhero trying to fight a villain and look over and like, oh my gosh, there's no civilian in the way. Why are you here? Jump out the way, let's go. You don't see that in movies anymore, and I do like the fact how this movie did that. Oh, the Justice League tried to play on that, but it was just like random. But this right here, it made sense. Like they're traveling through the Middle East, and they just came across a family who was outside playing. Wonder Woman is like, I can't let these kids get killed, I'm about to jump in the way. Great. Or she's at the mall and people, bystanders, are getting in the way of Wonder Woman fighting these people. There's a kid comes up who sees Wonder Woman, is like in awe of her, and Wonder Woman's like, I don't need you to be here right now, but get out the way, little kid. Yeah, so I do like the fact that Wonder Woman does Wonder Woman things. She does superhero things. She's not just ignoring everybody else. She acknowledges people. I think that's great. I like that. Alright, that's my spoiler review, part of the Wonder Woman 1984. Movie's a B. It's a B. If you've seen Wonder Woman 1984, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Okay, what your thoughts are. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. Keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of movie breakdowns or grind towards success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.